Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. And welcome, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. Let me make sure I'm here because the wind was blowing a little bit while I was driving. Yeah, okay. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Always a pleasure to be in your company. So, I'm calling the show Walking in the Spirit, and I can explain why in a second. So those of you who didn't see yesterday's show, I want you to know that you missed an incredible show. Lady Yolanda Roll was the guest in studio yesterday, and boy, did she bring it. She really, really ministered to me and lots of other women, apparently, because up until late last night, I was receiving messages from women saying, "Oh my God, that woman blessed my socks off today." It was really life-changing. And even after the show was over, she ministered to me some more and really helped me to face some things in my life that I had been avoiding, ignoring for a very long time. Long story short, she encouraged me to have a conversation with my dad. Much needed conversation that, it's kind of funny because I had just spoken to my dad the day before, wishing him happy Father's Day. And here I was calling him again, but with a completely different conversation. That really was more than 40 years overdue. And this was a conversation that really obviously needed to be had because he learned a lot about me and I learned a lot about him in that conversation. And it was something that needed to be done to bring healing. And right in the middle of our conversation, when Daddy was expressing some things that he needed to say to me, things that I needed to hear. Right when Daddy was getting into the thick of it, I heard this loud knocking on my door. Bam, 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 bam. I said, what is it? Because, nobody just pull up on me like that. You know what I mean, Delton? I said, what is this disturbing me at a time like this? There's a conversation. What was more than 40 years in the making. And somebody at that very moment come banging on my door. I said, Daddy, hold on. Somebody at my door. Let me see who this is. I go on the door. I say, who is it? Hello? I say, who this is? I look out my window. Yard full of red shit. I say, well, mother sick. Of all the times y'all come knocking on my door, at this very moment, when my father is saying some life-changing things to me, y'all can come knocking on my door now? These people ain't walking in the spirit. You know what I mean, Delton? Because if they was walking in the spirit, the Lord would have tell them, pass the house. This is a good time to fool with her right now. This is a conversation I was having with my father that needed to be had over 40 years ago. And at that very moment, when my father was saying to me, I have to say that I'm sorry to you. As soon as them words come out of daddy mouth, bam, 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 I'm knocking so loud. I said, what is this knocking at my door? When I look out that window and I see all them red shit, I say, these people ain't walking in the spirit. There is another force at work here. Because if they was walking in the spirit, they would have known this ain't the time. Well, what does that have to do with what we talk about today? I quite frankly believe that they wasn't walking in the spirit because their leader ain't walking in the spirit. Because when I listened to that debate contribution yesterday, I said, this man need Jesus. He ain't walking in the spirit. So today on G, I'm in a good mood today, y'all. That was such a healing conversation with my dad yesterday. But this ain't gonna be no healing conversation this morning. I might as well tell you now. So if you little touches and you can't take a little chafing and you support the people in the red shirt, maybe you want to switch to another station because I gonna read them up today. Because first and foremost, you come interrupting this most important conversation I've had in my life with my father. At that very second, you come knocking on my door. And like I say, I believe they were falling in line because their leader ain't walking in the spirit. So we're going to break down his contribution to the House of Assembly yesterday. And who else? Who better to do this than Mr. C. Allen Johnson? Y'all know I always just go to C. Allen when it comes to breaking these kind of things down, right? Because hate him, like him, or in between. You can't deny that what this man is be saying is truth, right? When I was on the station in the other place, he started talking about how this man was going to stretch out this competent authority thing. And man, these people was calling, carrying on like this, losing their mind. And C. Allen was correct to the day, or maybe one day off. So I thought, who better to talk about how this man ain't walking in the spirit than C. Allen Johnson? And C. Allen Johnson ain't a religious person. Me and him just disagree on things when it comes to things like religion and stuff. But C. Allen, this man ain't walking in the spirit because this is a budget debate. What everybody was anticipating. We've been waiting now for months to hear what the economic plan is to get us out of this mess. Months we've been waiting to hear this. And he could show up yesterday and he do all kind of dancing around the mulberry bush, but he ain't never get to the point what we were expecting him to get to. So that's why I say this man can't be walking in the spirit. I believe there's another force at work here. What were your thoughts, Alan, after you heard that budget communication?
I'd have to agree with you and say that it's a spirit of narcissism was filled in that room, and self-love and no love for the people. I saw individuals praising a man that is totally out of touch with his leadership expectations, banging on the desk for things that has already been announced and said before. And like you said, we anticipated that at this particular time on two things. One, we're supposed to be coming out of this 17, 18-month lockdown. Right. And secondly, this is his maybe his final budget. Don't necessarily have to be, because constitutionally, he can be in office until August 24th of next year. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, let me just explain that for a lot of people may not know. The Constitution says 5 years from the first sitting of Parliament, not 5 years from the election date. The first sitting of Parliament, I think, occurred on the 24th of May, 2017. He must call the election, meaning that he has the ability to stand up and dissolve Parliament by that date. It doesn't have to be on that date. Okay. And it must occur within 90 days after that date. So if he just wait until the 23rd of May of 2022 and call the election. It could be set as far away as the 24th or so of August. And I know we keep thinking that it's 5 years even, but it's
Hmm.
5 years from the day of the first sitting to state the date. If he doesn't state it by midnight of that anniversary, the governor general gets to set the date. But either way, it'll be after May 24th if he doesn't call it by then. Just to set that straight. But in anticipation, we assume, based on tradition and what has happened, that this would be his last budget debate. He's
Hmm.
opening up an economy. The third thing in play was the fact that he has been gearing up as if there would be an early election. So we had this huge expectation that he's going to give us these whole economic strategy. We've had multiple committees. Remember, we have the Economic Recovery Committee.
Hmm.
We have the committee to study the Economic Recovery Committee from the University of the Bahamas. And then we have the Grand Bahama Reef Committee. And then he's also kind of hinted that he has a different set of advisors, because he basically always say his advisory team. So I assume that he has advisory teams in the office of the Prime Minister. Now add to that, he also also his ministers. So we have to just basically thought like this man has a full team of intelligentsia, research, data, and everything else, and he spent a proportionate time of the debate reflecting on the governance of between 2012 and 2017. I mean, so literally speaking, he has spent the last 4 years blaming the PLP, the last administration, for something that he promised us that he could fulfill, he could fix. And the mere fact that he has not fixed anything, nor uh, even then now I thought that he would come with this agenda, the agenda that he promised us, some of the things being accountability, transparency, anti-corruption, freedom of information, term limits, set boundary committee, integrity, the and a host of things that he promised us, but
Right.
he brought nothing at all to the table.
So if we were, clearly this is something that everybody was anticipating because we all wanted to hear what this economic plan was. Um, there was all this hullabaloo about the Economic Recovery Committee when it was appointed and how these were the sharpest minds and yada, 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 yada. And it took them, long enough, but they eventually presented the plan to him. And
They haven't presented the plan. They
well,
haven't
an
presented the
outline
plan.
of a plan,
Executive summary.
executive summary, an outline of a plan. Okay,
Plan, right?
executive summary from which we expected to see a plan evolve, correct?
Yes, and this is why I thought that it was going to be tabled. I thought it was going to be tabled.
Everybody was expecting that to be tabled in the House of Assembly yesterday. And there was all this buildup. Oh, the Prime Minister is going to, bring some stuff, with him and all this kind of stuff. So everybody was waiting to hear what this man was going to say, because you figure, well, maybe he just wanted to have his big moment for him to really unveil this plan, right? Yeah. So maybe that's why he ain't put it out yet. So maybe we just have to wait until the budget debate, and then we will see what this plan is. So where was the plan? What happened? Like
He didn't
how?
even bring. What's the scary? He didn't even bring new ideas.
What you think going on, C. Allen? No, seriously now. You think this man under a spirit? What you think going on? What is going on?
I really do. I think Menace is being possessed by Menace, and here's why. And here's why I say that.
OMG.
He came with all these different things, but his most animated thing was, "You're not locked down. Do what you want." And then he goes, Grand Bahama, you don't need a vaccine or test, and he became so like almost as if though like he's like giving you something, releasing you or some major accomplishment and it was like that was his highlight, was being able to tell us that, and if you take the vaccine, you could do this, and if you do this, and young people go have a vaccine party. Go to church if you want, but don't go to the funeral, because you might have 200 of you in the church, and those same 200 people who will go to the graveyard, you can only, the church will keep you protected, but in the graveyard, the COVID will be waiting on you. And he said that he checked with COVID, and COVID has now agreed to wait 1 extra hour later to attack individuals who come out at midnight rather than 11 in Grand Bahama. And the COVID clock has moved from 10 o'clock on New Providence to 11. So now the 11 o'clock COVID used to attack people in Grand Bahama now moved to New Providence to do the attacks at 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so and that's where his animation came from, or when he was blaming the PLP for things that hasn't occurred in his 4 years of tenure. But in blaming them, he kept saying, "You left plans, but you didn't finish." Now, the point I made that for is that if he came in with a plan, then he didn't even have to plan; he had to execute. Why it took him 4 years to execute a plans that was already completed on the table that's going. So it can only be that he was delaying it to get brownie points closer to the election. He made an announcement of what other people are doing for us on Grand Bahama. I think he announced. He announced that we acquired the airport. Wait a minute, we knew that already. He did announce that the hotel will open soon, very soon. And he also announced for Grand Bahama that we will actually have the harbor. Oh, yeah, the one for 10 years now we've been waiting. And I mean, we were dismayed. He says that, the lots that you have in that the PLP, the subdivision they prepared in East Grand Bahama, we're going to make those available. We're going to make those available to you. And so we and Grand Bahama was left dismayed. He didn't speak about the fact that between Grand Bahama and Abaco, I don't think he even mentioned Abaco. Between Grand Bahama and Abaco, there's 10,340 homes that they have counted so far that has been damaged or destroyed. He did not address anything of that. In fact, he announced the $10 million for the feeding program. But the problem with that is that you still have an inadequate feeding program where the feeding program is not feeding people on a daily basis. They're giving families vouchers, they say worth $50, but it's probably $30 or less worth of food in the basket. They're giving, there's no relief. I don't know. He said nothing about the rare fact that we're going to be opening up supposedly right after this August lockdown, and there's no social safety net. There's no job development strategies for individuals to go back to work. He just say, things are bouncing back. We don't know bouncing back from where, bouncing back too high or whatever else. He made no announcement of, I mean, technically he has, I'm perplexed to find a single thing that he has made that we have not heard before. Nothing new. This was not a time to pontificate, blame the PLP, and through lack, simply saying, I have no plan for rebuilding the economy. He talked about the loans that's already been given by the SPDC. He rehashed the Over the Hill project. He rehashed the downtown development, that thing that we've been doing another 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. I would invite callers who listen or heard him to please call in and give us 1, 2, maybe 3 things that he made an announcement that we have not heard before.
Well, I don't know. I could throw the numbers out there just in case somebody heard something what you didn't hear or what I didn't hear. The number is 828-3543. 828-3543 is the number to call, and the text line is 828-2543. 828-2543 is the text line. Like and share the show, people. Let everybody know that GPS is on the air and that we are talking about the Prime Minister's contribution to the budget debate yesterday, which everybody was anticipating, expecting to hear some big grandiose plan as to what the government intended to do to get us out of this mess. And clearly the only plan they seem to have is take the vaccine and carry on.
Yes. And that was his sales pitch. Now that was his sales pitch, was vaccine everybody, vaccine everybody. But he provided no data. Now let's go back to what his minister said. The Minister of Health said that he anticipated that we'll be open in a matter of weeks, multiple weeks. And this is what's amazing. He's now relying on COVID infections that he don't know about to open, because he's basically saying,
You notice
based on
that
the number of vaccines, yes, on the number of vaccines
on persons.
and
Go ahead.
who we have recovered, and you
Exactly.
go, okay, how do you quantify it? Now, if you must get to 80% capacity, and you look at what he's going to be providing, which will probably be about not even 1/5, because 1/5 is 80,000. Let's put it at 1/5 of the vaccines. Then he would have to claim that 3/5 of the population was indirectly COVID infected.
And
So
didn't even know, or at least the
right.
government.
So if you say, because if the international standard which they rely on says that 80% of the population,
Mhm.
automatically that would put it at 320,000 people. So if he has 80,000, he's literally claiming 140,000 individuals in the Bahamas have been infected or exposed to COVID and have recovered, and we just not telling them. Now, I would argue that the mere fact that we have done no testing and the multiples of 5 could put it the fact that if we had 16,000 that actually was tested only because they showed symptoms.
Right.
Because remember, they did not test the people who was actually exposed to people who was positive by simply just telling them, if you show symptoms, let us know.
Right.
And so if you take the multiples of 5 of that, you could very easily say that if we had 10,000 exposures, we had 60,000 individuals who may have been infected. So, but he's taking it much more than that. He's taking it to 3 times that of that numbers. And maybe they know something that they have kept a secret. Now, what's the scary part is the fact that we have to take into consideration that the Prime Minister is opening up the economy to anybody who is vaccinated. The problem with that is vaccinated people are still carriers of COVID, including the new variant. And so we have almost eliminated testing for anybody that's vaccinated, which could really bring another big blow. And this new variant from India is multiple times more infectious and rapidly spreading than even the one from South Africa and other places. Now, that wouldn't be a problem if we ignore the fact that for 18 months, the government has came up with no medical strategy to respond to or created the infrastructure, anticipation of a COVID spread in the country and reopening the economy to be able to respond to handle the type of action that will become our way, even on the out islands. We did not hear from the Prime Minister in his grand debate, the debut yesterday, nor we heard from the Minister of Health any actionable strategy, any real true expansion to be able to accommodate even tourists coming to our country who may have COVID. Now, when the cruise ship opens up, it's not if, but it'll be when an outbreak occurs on those cruise ships. And the mere fact that we are home porting in the Bahamas means that we have not been explained. We will be obligated to accept them coming back into our harbors with those individuals that's contaminated or have COVID. And so you have the nurses that have not reached the level of vaccination, according to the Prime Minister. We have the doctors who have not, because they have no confidence. And this, for me, this is a matter of trust. And the mere fact that they and the Bahamian people no longer have trust or confidence in this administration. And so no matter how much vaccines you bring to the country, they have no trust. And we're not hearing anything, because here's the problem with that. The Prime Minister comes and preaches vaccine. Then at the same time, you have the nurses and the other doctors alliance who are saying, no, no, don't do this. No, no, we're unaware. No, no, we're not vaccinated. No, no, we don't know about this. We haven't been talked to them. They haven't spoken with us. Well, isn't these the same doctors that he said is part of the competent authority team of individuals that supposed to be advising him on what to do for us? It's a scary situation. So I don't know what we will do as a country. Essentially, I would say that the competent authority is simply positioning himself to sell a narrative so that he could go to the polls and try to get an early mandate, because clearly this cannot go past next year,
We
the
have
end
a
of this year.
call. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Seattle. How's everything?
Good, good. How are you?
Everything good.
Yeah, and I had to get involved in this convo. Michelle, we've spoken a lot about this vaccine, this narrative, everything. But just speaking from facts, just like Seattle is saying, they're pushing to get the public vaccinated, which makes, like you mentioned earlier, no sense, because we're in an economic emergency right now, and a lot of people have lost their savings, lost everything, and the budget made no sense. There's no plan for economic boost. We're just relying on the same old tourism platform. It's so messed over, especially the last year and a half, that it can't work. Tourism should have been the cherry on top of the cake from the break. The very fact, like Seattle mentioned, that the healthcare sector has not been supporting the vaccine initiative speaks for itself. If the nurses by far aren't taking it, then why should I? That's 1+1 reasoning. We have access to one vaccine, which makes it equally as sinister seeming almost. Why do we have only one option when everybody else has a menu? That's the question. Everything is the vaccine. We needed some definite numbers. We needed a plan, a working plan, that makes sense. And it's just not happening. I'm wondering what exactly is going on. The thing that really bothers me is that I know of individuals, Bahamians right now, that are fully vaccinated, and they're having health issues. They are having health issues. They are having serious health issues. Now, a lot of people
Can I say something?
like lots, but people are having heart attack, heart murmur. They're having extreme headaches. They're having seizures. In the circle that I know of, people are having real issues. I'm talking about fever the last 2.5 weeks. And the list goes on and on. The CDC site, if you check it out, it has a lot of numbers, because the information is coming out in bulks, and it cannot be denied right now. Just talking about the states, for example. Why is the Prime Minister more concerned about us taking this vaccine, trying to give people who are fully vaccinated incentives? Also, it's almost like you're trying to create division within the population. People who are vaccinated versus people who are unvaccinated. Okay, it's created a problem when we really need to talk about this country getting its economy back and developing new economies. That's my thing.
You wanted to say something, Alan?
Yeah, I just wanted to call it to understand that the health issues that we're having comes more than just the vaccine. We have a greater threat than the vaccine, than the COVID. We have mental health in our society. And these come from improper nutrition. Added to that, the mental stress of not working, the food insecurity, the housing insecurity, the children with education. And so all of these are compounded stress upon an individual. And so the mere fact the Prime Minister is advocating take a vaccine to get back to work. But he has not told them where they'll be working, because as we know, Atlantis and Bahama and these other places, will not be bringing back the capacity of staffs that we can anticipate. And so they, like the caller said, there's no new economic models that's there. So, and in case the prime minister hasn't noticed, it's 4-1 of people who are not vaccinated. So there is the vaccinated is outnumbered. And so unless there could be a more convincing argument to take these emergency clients, then I think the prime minister has to have an alternative, and that is a health regime, whether it be healthy living, healthy involvement, digital contact tracing, so we can know in real time individuals who are exposed. They have perimeter monitoring now that provides an anonymous uh, notification. So, say for instance, if the phone doesn't know it's me, they don't know my phone number. I key it into, if I was to take a COVID test, I key in my phone number. They don't even know the number. And it'll notify anybody I came in contact with for the last 4 days, 5 days, or whatever, based by pinging those particular phones. I mean, the technology is there in a population as small as 400,000 individuals. So even when individuals come back into this country, we have to know when a worker is exposed to someone, a carrier. But how do we know they're exposed to a carrier if we're not testing them just because they're vaccinated? And so there is no strategy, but the stress of mental health and welfare and being cooped up and improper diet and all these things weighs down on individuals. And so, again, no strategy to respond to that. People have not been going to the doctors to get their checkups, to get their medication, to get whatever it is. Imagine the people who depended on their income to pay for medications for themselves and their families. They no longer have an income. So I'm sure they're skipping medications or making do. They can't go to the hospital to get what is necessary because, again, of the COVID over the last 18 months. But these are things that government has not addressed, and somehow seemingly want us to assume that once they lift the lockdown, that things would actually just pop back in place and everything will be okay.
Well, caller, I got to take a break. So thank you so. Unless you had another question, thank you so much for calling.
Well, I have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
One more
quickly.
thing to mention.
Go ahead.
I'll do this real quick, but I'm glad you mentioned what you mentioned about the contract tracing, because if this was a real issue, because 98% of those that have contracted COVID-19 have made a full recovery. And of course, the reason for any vaccine is to train the immune system and how to fight it. You inject a small portion of course, the agent, and the immune system learns how to counteract it. If I have already counteracted COVID-19, if I've made a full recovery, why do I need a vaccine in the first place?
We should have the antibodies, yes. Yeah.
Exactly. You have the antibodies. It's just like a computer code. And the thing about it is what baffles me. Ebola virus, for example, under the Obama administration, was nipped in the bud instantly. Ebola virus is extreme virus, is deadly virus. You contract Ebola, you have a small window of coming out of that alive. Now, for a virus like coronavirus, if you have a 98% recovery rate, that's less than the common cold or influenza. Therefore, the whole narrative of this vaccine campaign, it makes absolutely no sense. And I'm wondering why our Prime Minister, he's pushing this agenda so far. The contract system made absolutely no sense. It was hit or miss. People who allegedly contracted COVID-19, when they got the PCR test saying that they're positive, there was almost no contact tracing. I know from personal experience of that being a fact. You know, I'm wondering what exactly is his objective, and he seems more concerned about this vaccine than putting food on tables and making sure our bills are paid. That's just my final thought. I'll listen out as y'all continue.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. We got to take a quick break, y'all. We are way past our break time. So we're going to take this break. When we come back, excuse me, we're going to continue the conversation about the budget communication by the Prime Minister yesterday and whether or not he did anything beyond just beat on the chest, because we were looking for a plan. And I ain't know about you, but I ain't seen none. Is this man walking in the spirit? We're going to continue after these words from our sponsors.
Glory 93.9 FM. We're chasing after God's glory.
Best dress, hats off, looking like I walked out of catalog. Everybody wanna know where I got it from. Catwalk, 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 boutique, where we make fashion statements. Catwalk, boutique, where we make fashion statements.
For the latest styles in women's clothing and accessories, visit Catwalk Boutique on Robertson Road East at the Helron Plaza. At Catwalk Boutique, we make fashion statements.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
At Lee Air, safety is our number one priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Alive. Alive. Believe in best. And by Tropical Gyros. Not just good food, it's an experience. And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and my guest today is C. Alan Johnson. And the topic of this show today is Walking in the Spirit. We are breaking down the Prime Minister's communication to the budget debate yesterday. And Wow. You know, we were talking about the fact that everybody was expecting some kind of plan to be presented, and all we heard was a bunch of stuff that had already been announced before, and more of the I don't know what's the right word to use to describe the manner in which he promotes this vaccine, and and the freedoms that he is now giving to people who have been vaccinated. And it's just
But something was the
like the saying say, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I before we jump in, Cialan, I can't hear you for some reason. So work on your audio on your end. Let me
okay.
Okay, now I can hear you. Let me read a couple of comments first before you jump in. It's if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Okay, so let's see. Jamalat says, I am concerned because COVID-19 has a 99% complete recovery. Let's see, Siobhan. Siobhan says, good morning, Michelle and guests. After watching the Prime Minister's speech on Monday, I am deeply concerned and disturbed. The competent authority is crossing many ethical boundaries in many ways, not sure who's advising or consulting him in regards to his speeches and information. What appears to be clear is he is violating the constitutional rights of Bahamians and discriminating against non-vaxxers. That is not right. Let's see. We have another one that says they are not interested in healing. Rochelle says, because people abroad putting pressure on him to put pressure on the Bahamian people to take the vaccine. And Celeste says, exactly, Rochelle, knowledge is power. Let me read one more. This one is from Kenley. Kenley says, the Prime Minister got orders to follow as well. Let's stop being childish and pretending the agendas are set for subsidiary countries. We have watched leaders of countries forcibly removed with false narratives given as to why, whether through exile, war, or sudden untimely death, go along, get along. All right. See, Alan, let's bring you back in here. You had started to say something when I interrupted you and said I wanted to
yes.
go to.
No, I'm simply saying, going back to say why he's pushing the vaccine narrative, because he has no other plan. So his idea is, and you look at the fact that, and this is let's diversify. Let's divert a little bit towards the economy. We had an economy based on this broken tourism model where we just sit back and people come to visit us. Now, let's not confuse the visitors that we have come to the Bahamas. We have probably 80% of our visitors or more come at what we call what do you call what is it? What's that hotel type of you don't pay for anything? Inclusive models.
All inclusive.
Like all inclusive. Now, a lot of people may not realize it, but 80% of our tourists comes to all inclusive hotels. That is the cruise ships.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get rooms in the Bahamas. They barely buy food and drinks in the Bahamas. They don't really get their entertainment in the Bahamas. They leave their room or they leave their hotels to buy trinkets and then get back on it. And they only come for a couple of hours. Mm-hmm. And so I just want you to imagine that a person is on a 7-day cruise, times 7 hours by 24. And then realize that out of that total 7 hours, they may spend about 3 hours walking around in the Bahamas. That's not coming to the Bahamas. Mm. And so we've bought into this broken model that this is what we are worth. Sitting and waiting on the beaches to see if somebody from the cruise ship will come and rent an umbrella or rent a chair or take a jet ski ride. The majority of those other customers who even come and stay in the Bahamas, they basically stay within the compound of the hotels, Atlantis and Bahama and the other old island hotels. So yes, we get some trickle down economics, but COVID has disrupted that, and we see the advent of technology, and essentially the government in the Bahamas is with all its might and all its helpers. And so just look at who's in charge of the economic models, who's been appointed to the boards of these government corporations. The government now is trying to convince people that restoration of the previous model, in fact, in spite of the world and COVID disrupting it, is the best thing that could happen. Have you heard the Prime Minister talk about anything about the boats will be back one day, and RCL will be bringing 2 million tourists, and he has not talked about anything except going back to the old model. The question is, why is that? Because COVID and digitization has brought a model that disrupts power, that disrupts economics as we know it. And so even the individuals that advises the prime minister has taken the position that they need the model restored because we cannot have behemoths integrate into any new economic models. This is why they only talk about this. And the prime minister mentioned this again. Oh, the blue economy, the green economy, the orange economy, the digital economy, and the conceptual and knowledge economy, and all these things. But he brought no substance to it because technically those economic models, when examined, would liberate you from the economic slavery that you're in. How is that done? 80% of the Bahamians in the Bahamas stay on New Providence. And so those who control us and control our supposedly directive by talking to our leaders have control of New Providence. They control the harbor. They control the airport through the PPPs. They control the gas stations. They control the energy sector. They control the food stores. They control the real estate companies. They control the banking. They control the mortgage corporations. If behemoths look at it, we really don't own anything. But this new disruptive model provides an opportunity for behemoths to actually move into the new model of hospitality. Now, we must remember, we have only had tourism. Tourism is a subset of hospitality. Tourism is what people do. They go for food, they go for drinks, they go for music, they go for whatever. Hospitality is what people experience. And what people do comes under hospitality. This is why you have, under hospitality, you have religious tourism, sports tourism, medical tourism, educational tourism, wellness tourism, I think I said religious tourism, all of these different models. Now, if we get away from the cruise ship models, it will require that we will need about 30,000 rooms in the Bahamas. The mere fact that we don't have 30,000 rooms that we have would then mean that behemoths would have the opportunity to enter into the VRBOs, which is vacation rentals by owner, and B&Bs. By doing that, the dollars that normally go to these hotels that take in the billions of dollars now flows to the Bahamian people, first in the fact that they are now accommodating the heads in the beds directly coming to them. Secondly, it actually means that they would now have to build substantial infrastructure of things to do, the tourism model for them to do now that they're coming. The reason why behemoths don't get involved with that is there is no demand for you to get into the business with a restaurant except cannibalizing another restaurant because a lot of behemoths are already doing it. So if you convert these millions, these 5.5 million people who come on these inclusive hotels called cruise ships, then you have disrupted the model that there is. This is why we are facing global warming and climate change. And one of the dirtiest businesses in the world is the cruise industry. And so they also know that the Bahamas is also their economic lifeline, because if they don't give us supposed to be registration fee or stop off here after everybody already spent all their money around the rest of the destinations, they know that if we change our economic models, they would have to pay their fair share of their profits in transport and otherwise. And so this is why the prime minister wanted to talk in small bites about these new economic models, but they don't want to come into details and tell you what to do. Let's use an example. If you net $100 per night in a room, you would collect $36,500 per year. Even at 50% occupancy, you collect $20,000. That's more than most people mortgage and light bill. Okay? So what also happens is if we come together as a collective, we can actually begin to pre-sell this. What if you could book 3 years of reservations in 2 rooms or 2 apartments on your property, or three units? Literally speaking, you could, I'm going to be talking about this in details hopefully next week or something with you on this. If you take 3 units, or build 3 units on Grand Bahama on the outer islands, and enough people come to build that demand of a 3 or 4 star type environment, and you're getting $125 a night or whatever, literally speaking, you're now taking in $200,000 a year on a house that you've built. Let's even put it at $150,000 a year on a house that you've built for $400,000. So within 3 years, or even if you only run at 50% occupancy, little over 50% occupancy, in 5 years, you would have recovered 100% of your income. And from then on, you have a debt-free environment that you're now making $200,000 a year as a family. So within 5 years, you've really literally hit $1 million status with being a family. This is why the government don't want to go to the blue economy, the green economy, and all of these variations of these economic models that is possible, because it will then, what it'll do is remove individuals, because you'll now consider that if you can get collectively, and this is what tourism is supposed to be, do booking people and directing them. And so they don't direct people to us, they direct people to hotels. And the mere fact that we even have a tourism marketing department that actually convinces you that they are marketing the Bahamas. Yes, they're holding to the brand, but they wrap themselves around the Bahamas brand. And so what we do is we pay these 4, 5, 6 tourism boards millions of dollars for self-promotion, and many of them get to keep the bare dollars to do their own self-promotion of their own brand. We give away billions of dollars. Imagine this, billions of dollars we give in tax concessions per year collectively. When you look at the multiplier effect, what happens if you kept the $1 billion a year in the economic models of the Bahamas? You will begin, 5,000, 10,000 of us will begin to break the back of the so-called oligarchs and the plutocrats that rule us, because it will be more of us collectively than them, with one of them with $100 million. So you have to begin to ask yourself, who is in control of the country? Clearly, when you look from the economics of it, it's not the Bahamian people, nor is the members of parliament, because it's no way they could sit there for 18 months of this pandemic, not seeing an economic plan, knowing that they have individuals within their constituency and have nothing to say in parliament except to praise that the prime minister is the sole collective intelligence within the parliament and is his idea for everything when he has none. It's like everybody's there is afraid to say to the emperor, "Emperor, you are naked, and I'm standing naked beside you, and the people want to see us clothed." But I blame us, because we're sitting quietly waiting for people to bring us more snake oil. And if they are physicians, you say to the physician, heal yourself. And we're quiet. And I ask the Bahamian people, why aren't you demanding more, not of your political party, but of your members of parliament, regardless of the political affiliation they are? More so of these aspirants, because it makes no sense. It's like you say, if you exchange an empty hand for an empty hand, what do you still have? Empty hands. And so the question we have to begin to ask ourselves of the MPs, and you ask what Minnis did. Minnis brought nothing because he doesn't feel threatened by anything. If Minnis really thought that there were some people out there with the ideas that would challenge his leadership and challenge his governance, I think he would be on his P's and Q's. And so when you hear the political rhetoric in the market, Minnis in the game knows the skill set of what will threaten him. And he's looking over the horizon, and he's not seeing it from those opposing him, because we are sitting around waiting for some other political party to rescue us, rather than we making the demand of these so-called aspirants and these so-called leaders of these other political parties is, don't tell me how bad the other guy is doing. Tell me what you would do.
What is your
You
plan?
should know the circumstances. How could you tell me, let you continue? And I ask you, well, what would you do from this point? And you go, I don't know what's going on. Minister has a secret. Well, how could you offer to fix something that you don't know? And we have to begin to ask these questions. And this is why ministers can stand there for 3 hours and say absolutely nothing substantive, and people just sit and wait and say, I can't wait to get rid of him. I can't wait to this, whatever. Go to your MPs and ask them to listen to the speech and tell them to bring you a summary of the way forward, not looking back. And if we actually collectively begin to do this, we will get what we want. Because even though we waited on minutes, Michelle, think about this. Did the 39 constituencies send minutes to Parliament? We may, by virtue of the Constitution, but if we did not send those individuals to the House of Assembly, minutes wouldn't be there. So since you sent an individual that has an able minutes, then you should hold that individual accountable, because minutes is the collective intelligence of supposed to be the cabinet around him and the people he appointed to his board. And so if minutes, imagine this, that you have 16, 18 cabinet ministers and another 20 individuals appointed to the board, and collectively minutes speaking for them is equal nothing. It's a scary thought, because they should say, well, I'm sorry, minutes didn't say anything, but I need to say something about what I'm doing and whatever else is happening. And so again, minutes just talk about what didn't happen in the PLP, what might happen with him that he has already told us before, and he's given us no path forward. And I think this is the stage that Bahama should be very, very scared. Very, very scared.
Yeah. I want to read a couple of comments. This one is from Bertha. Bertha says, this government has broken all the laws of this country and nothing is being said. That's why this country has become a lawless state. And then we have Celeste, who says, C. Allen is absolutely right. We can rescue ourselves by coming together as one and be on one accord. We are the people and have the power to collectively receive what is ours. It is owed to us. Wow. All right. We're going to take a quick break. And on the other side, we're going to continue our conversation about the disappointment that was for many in the Prime Minister's budget communication yesterday, because everybody was expecting this wonderful plan finally to be unveiled. And yet he came and gave us nothing but fluff. So I'm calling the show today, Walking in the Spirit. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Glory 93.9 FM, the people's favorite gospel station.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Want to be pampered? Want to be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy Schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information.
At the Shirley Street Plaza, you'll find Le Petit Gourmet, a small cafe that's big on flavor. Handcrafted delights made with love will not only please your palate, but feed your soul. Call us at 394-1251. 8 to 12 minutes is all it takes for a burglar to rob your home or business. Security Systems International provides professional and affordable solutions for both. Call 396-5000 for your customized quote. Gwen's Alterations provides professional services for all your tailoring needs, including face masks to keep you safe and in style. A stitch in time saves 9. So call us today at 393-6227.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Bahamas Orthodontic Center, celebrating 30 years of designing and creating beautiful smiles.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. My guest today is C. Alan Johnson. I'm calling this show Walking in the Spirit, and we're breaking down the budget communication presented by the Prime Minister in the House of Assembly yesterday. I want to read a couple of comments from our Facebook viewers. This one is from Kenley. Kenley says, remember Aaron Ferguson? I believe that's his name, who had the show on cable a number of years back. I believe his mother was a former beauty pageant queen. He had a good show and restaurant, and as soon as he broke down the reality that Bahamians only own their labor and nothing else in this country, his show was canceled and lost the restaurant lease. Let's see. Another one says, this is Crimson. Crimson says, I remember him. He was so on fire against corruption. I wonder if he fled the country. Jamalat says, the cognitive dissonance in this country is serious and deep, from the House of Parliament to shanty towns. Alicia says, the only plan the Prime Minister presented yesterday was the red shirt he has for Chester Cooper. That's how clueless he is to running a country. I think he spends too much time with COVID. Celeste says, Mr. C. Allen Johnson is right. We are sitting around like beggars looking for handouts and scraps from someone else's tables when we, the people, have the power to collectively demand a change and a resolution for the people of this country. Let me read a text that I just received a few minutes ago. And this is an example of what's going on in this country and why some people feel so hopeless. It says, I worked to Atlantis. I was out for a year due to COVID. I was called back to work. We are strongly encouraged to get fully vaccinated soon or pay for your own tests. We are also being told to brace ourselves for furlough in September due to forecast. I told them I already had COVID, but they said get vaccinated or pay or get furlough again. We are between a rock and a hard place. So we have people like that clearly going through. I have heard of one case of a gentleman who worked at, I think it was Atlantis, who was told, get the vaccine. He gets the vaccine, and then he was one of the people who got let go the other day. So you have people who really are going through some difficult times as a result of making the mistake of believing that they can only rely on the government to take care of them. Whereas we have to, I'm sorry to say it, people, we got to realize that, they ain't on our run, and we have to change our paradigm. No pun intended, but we have to change our paradigm, change the way we think so that we collectively and individually can pull ourselves out of this. Because clearly, if it wasn't made clear to y'all yesterday with that budget communication, clearly these people don't have a clue, clueless as to what it's going to take to pull us out of this, apart from get the vaccine, get the vaccine, get the vaccine, he, ho, 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 and then carry on. Clueless. So what can the collective do, C. Allen? What can individuals and groups of individuals do, apart from, I know what you're going to say, demand more from your MP, but they're clueless. What should we be doing to change the situation if we can't rely on them?
I come right back to that question. Let me just tell you what is happening. Our leaders are searching the world for something to say, because this is where you see the narrative where every time they say what they're doing, they're moving to, well, this country's doing it, this country's doing it. So they're following some leader, and the businesses in the community is now following our leaders with their nonsense. And so when they see our leaders is pushing a singular narrative that if you don't get the vaccine, we can't open up the economy, they now, because remember, they don't care about your health or safety, with all due respect, because they could have also advocated that the government move to put some things in place, such as contact tracing, such as the digitization. These are mega billion-dollar companies. So their whole bottom line is preservation of their bottom line, their assets and their people. And they know that the individuals are disposable, because if you have 3,000 employees and you only need 750, you say we could dump these 750 anytime, because we could always just pick up another 750, because we could look into the pool of desperate individuals. And so we have now become, if you want to call the success of tourism as we knew it, we became a slave to our success. And so now they are now in charge of the plantation. And so now the plantation owners are demanding that the slaves do as they told, whether they benefit or not. Which brings us to the question, what can you do? For the entire 18 months, we could have reshaped this economy. I can say what we could have done. I'll come back to what we will do.
Yeah, hold on. But we have a caller on the line. So let's go to the caller first so we don't lose them, and then come back to that thought. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, good afternoon, Michelle.
Good afternoon.
I'm C. Allen Johnson.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yeah, he's listening. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to say good morning and good morning, Bahamas. This is Godson Johnson, a.k.a. Nicodemus. Michelle, two consideration I want to bring up with the question you just asked. Where do we go from here? We realize that the persons in power don't have a clue. Let me just say something that I pick up in my repertoire, in my learning journey. One, we're dealing with a whole different cadre of, let's say, a whole different generation. All right? I want to make 2 points. One, we have to reset. The Bahamas have to go to that place of reset. When we come to that place of reset, how are we going to do it, the methodology that we're going to use to reset ourselves, that is to be defined as, I guess, it's going to have to be defined clearly, if not sooner, much later. If not later, much sooner. We need to reset. Secondly, the book I read some time ago called The Progeny of the Oppressed. And in that book, I came away with a principle. You do not come and tell the people in the culture where you're going to take them. You cannot make people adopt your ideology as to where they should go. That I accept about humanity and accept about our culture. What's going to have to happen is we got to work alongside this generation and see what it is that they are yearning for, the direction that they have a propensity to go in, so that we don't find that we as a generation, C. Allen, yourself, myself, are actually fighting against the generation that comes after us. So yes, this crew don't have a clue, but at the same time, we must go forward and not make a catastrophe of the change or the reset that we know has to come about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so there's a need to be sensitive as to what it is that they are defining for themselves to be a lifestyle. In our day, when you and I grew up, the family was the nucleus. Okay? I remember you, and if C. Allen could recall, there was and you can recall yourself, there was a family through Dudley Lane called the Williams family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Williams. Mrs. Williams was home all day. And her single chore or her single mission in life was to provide for family in terms of keeping the house and cooking and what's not. Mr. Williams worked on the Betty K, and he would sometimes go off for days to work. That was my idea of what I was supposed to grow up to be. But that's not the case today. We've got to find out what it is this generation has a propensity, what are their propensities? And somehow we need to come up with policies, structures, and infrastructures that complement and guide them towards the direction. And so it is. Not to tell them where we want them to go or where we think they should be. Find out what it is that they want. And that's just two considerations. Reset and find out what defines life for this generation, and then we can begin to build. That's my contribution to the question you just asked.
All right. Thank you so much for calling, Nicodemus.
Well, thank you so much. I would agree that we do need to reset, rethink, and rebuild. That's absolutely true. I also accept what he said that we need not to continue the concept of giving people, telling them what to think. We must encourage people to think. And so I accept all of the premises that he said. And so someone like me that lives in this environment, and a lot of time people hear that I talk about digital, but when we talk about the green economy, digital is the glue of the reality that we live in right now. You had a generation of people that we call millennials from 1981 to 1995. And now we have Gen Z from 1996 to 2010. And then we have the generation after that called Alpha Generation or Generation Alpha. I am part of the Boomers 2 generation, which was 1961 to 1980. And so we, each of us have different set of values. And from the sociological type of environment, for those of us that build the future, we always have to keep that in context. And so this is where I'm well aware of the digitization of the economy. Green is now digital. Blue is now digital. The orange is now digital. Remember when you just used to play downtown and the people came off the boat to see you? Now you have people on YouTube and TikTok and all these various different things. And so the culture and heritage and everything is now digital in this delivery system. And it's the same thing in the knowledge economy. The knowledge economy was where you had to go and see an accountant, you had to go and see a doctor, you had to go and see an optometrist and go and see these individuals. And so unless the knowledge base, the knowledge that you need requires a contact, those things are now delivered digitally. Then when you come back and you begin to look at the conceptual economy is basically imagining, it's called the conceptual economy is based on imagination, is being able to imagine and conceptualize the multiple variations of what would be needed or how the world could be a better place. That's why I live in the conceptual economy. So I conceptualize the need of all of these things based on digital, based on the environment in the Bahamas. And you ask what could be done. Individuals for myself that is well aware of what has to be done has to become advocates for the platforms to be created so that when individuals find themselves, as Godson says, they have the tools that is necessary to be able to become the best they are. And so if they don't have access to the tools, if they don't have access to the resources, then realizing their potential is like saying being locked in a cage and realizing as a bird that you can fly. And so what we have to do is, but they have to advocate and reject what they've had. They have to basically question the authorities and say to them, don't dismiss this as what has been asked of you. We need you to begin to answer these questions.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are now saying what C. Allen Johnson and others have been saying for over a decade. We were saying these colored economic models. And all of a sudden now, since COVID came, they are now repeating it. But they are nothing more than sound bites and Googles. And so we have to demand, explain to me exactly what it is. Because if these individuals don't know what it is, and you hear your member of parliament saying, oh, the green economy, Paul say, hey, explain to me what it is so I can know how I'm going to get into it. Explain to me, don't just say what it, tell me how, what it is, what's the infrastructure. If you don't make that demand, they will get away with making the sound bites. So the minute you find out that they may not know, then you begin to ask them and say to them, hey, if you was to chip your teeth right now or tooth, would you then act as a dentist or would you go and seek the qualified person who has the ability to repair that? That will force them to remove themselves from this doom, the arrogance of ignorance, leading to paralysis of analysis. That will cause them to find individuals that can deliver. And you must also use the power of the tool in your hand. We are one of the most wired countries in the world. Just speak into your phone or type in orange economy, blue economy. Don't just type for the description. Ask how to integrate, how to start a business in. And that's where you could begin to know what is the infrastructure so that when individuals like me begin to ask and argue. So far to date, very few people is capable within the country of challenging me because I've had 43 years of living in this environment for which we exist today. I am a futurist, I am a technologist, and I am a bunch of things. And I think that it's my calling at this time is to come as a trumpeter, as an evangelist, to tell you prepare for the economic system that is now in place. But if you have your members of parliament sitting in parliament screaming that things are going to be back to where it was, if you didn't own your home, didn't own your car, couldn't pay your school fee, couldn't pay your light bill, living in darkness because of BPL, and all of these things, why would you want to go back to that? Shouldn't we be building a new future, a new Bahamas?
Yeah.
And you have to begin to recognize it's three things that builds an economy: labor, land, and people. Well, I mean, labor is the people. It's labor, land, and capital, sorry. So you're the labor, and you have the land. And guess what? Land in the Bahamas is also capital. So I've used an example. We say we have 3 million acres. Is 100,000 of those acres worth $100,000 each? Not to sell, but to leverage. Is that not $10 billion right there? The problem is the first thing I would tell people to do is demand a sovereign wealth fund, not no handout that you could buy land. Imagine the prime minister saying that you could buy your land at 50% discount while they give the foreigners thousands of acres for free and the tax concessions on top of it. But he's saying you can buy your land at half price. Why is it that you cannot leverage your land to give you the capital. And if you define a business in one of these 6, 7, 8 economic models, if I had the resources and my son come to me and says, I want to have a business and I think that he has the capability and he doesn't have everything that's needed and I had the resources, I'll buy him the management he needs. And so we can buy the same people that run Atlantis, we can buy those same managers. Those managers in Atlantis don't own Atlantis, They don't own Bahama. They don't own the Kentuckys, They are managing it. So why is it we can't buy the same managers if given access to the resources? In fact,
it's really
we
all
have
about
so much resource.
It's really all about creating opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. We have, I think, more than enough Bahamians right now building other people's countries with their economic abilities, prowess, whatever you want to call it. The brain drain is a serious problem. I have family members who live abroad who have the highest, have attained some of the highest levels in corporate America, making big differences in major corporations that they could be making here at home, but have no desire to come back home because their abilities will be frustrated because of the lack of opportunity, or because of cronyism, because of corruption, systems not being in place to accommodate. So we have a whole cadre of young professionals who are building other people's nations. When our country, and I'm not blaming them, don't get me wrong, because what is the point of coming home if you're going to be frustrated here to the point where you cannot perform based on what you have been trained to do? It doesn't make sense. We really have to get our act together as a nation, because we cannot continue to go down this yellow brick road searching for what the fellow the name in that movie, the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
We
the
looking
Wizard,
for
all right, the Oz, the Wizard.
Yeah, and come to find out when you remove the curtains, it's just a joker with a loud megaphone.
But isn't that what we heard? Isn't that what we heard in Parliament? Isn't that what we heard in Parliament? That we was looking to the wizard and we pulled back the curtain, and this was nothing but that. If you pull back the curtain on Hubert Minnis, we'll find out that he's nothing but a loud megaphone called competent authority and the office of the Prime Minister. And we are beginning to learn now there's no substance. But Michelle, go back to what Godson said about a reset. If your phone was to lock up on you and you can't use it right now, your computer was to lock up on you and everything as we know it, don't we press the reset button to get it to restart again? So you can reset again to have it restart, or we could reset all the way to zero. So he's correct in simply saying the greatest threat to our democracy today is corruption. I think one of the people you post on the thing says concerning the payment platform. The payment platform is generating $80,000 a day since they invoked it.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take the time and understand that we've been in this at least a year, or how long they've been doing it. They've been doing it for 100 days. They have $8 million they can't account for. No one could account for it. And guess what? It's a violation of the law, because according to our Constitution, not the law, all funds generated by the government is to go into the consolidated fund. It has been broken. According to the law, the Prime Minister should be reporting on his fiscal spending under COVID. He has not done so. And so we have a Prime Minister that has declared himself an authority unto himself, where the law and the Constitution no longer matters. That is a dangerous precedent. We are under lockdown, where according to the interpretation of the Emergency Act, there is two definitions. One is quarantine and one is isolation. Under the Emergency Act, quarantine and isolation take effect, which gives them the power to subdue or control your environments from the constitutional standpoint. But the word quarantine says someone who has been verified to have a disease. And you should only put in isolation and lockdown those individuals who have been exposed to that disease to see if they will come down with it. So how are you now then putting in isolation and quarantine an entire country? And so we could have generated laws. They did laws for control of dogs, turtles, and sharks in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't come up with laws and turtles for control of our country. We can't come up with laws to empower Bahamians. So let's go back to the sovereign wealth fund. And you say, what is the most primary thing for Bahamians to grab control of?
Hey, Alan, we have a caller on the line. Let's go to the caller. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Good afternoon now. Great conversation you all guys having. I haven't caught the entire show, so I don't want to comment so far based on the show, but other than to say, this country isn't short of anything. When it comes to intelligence, when it comes to smart Bahamians, unfortunately, we're also not short of corruption. We're also not short of literally families, committing treason, all right, in the name of our government. And this is what we did. We voted for these people. And there, in my humble opinion, there is no deadbeat dad, you see. If you analyze corruption and the root of corruption, why, then what we have is what we see. They about to debate the ruling, for example. They're about to debate the ruling of the Honorable Justice. But they know if we deal properly with the issue of citizenship, we have to begin at chapter 2 of the Constitution, all right? But fundamentally, Article 3, where it starts to speak about citizenship, the British Nationality Act, and so forth. If we're going to have a real conversation and a real ruling, then let's get to the root. At the end of the day, there was a reason, there is a reason, and there will always be a reason why corruption exists, and will continue to exist if we don't take a stand and put a stop to it. Thank you I have a lot more to say, but I didn't catch the beginning of the show, so, sometimes I feel a little lost. But other than to say, there is no one smarter than the Bahamian people when it comes to education. The same schools, the same books, everything. It's just how you apply what you learn. Now, we were taught in this country, and we acted based on how we were taught, the political game, and we played it. But the facts of the matter, the time came where the game itself, the owner of the game, decided when the game is going to be stopped being played, And the Bahamian people, you and I, we are that owner. We saw what type of game were being played on our lives, losing our lives, not we down to losing our lives, but just before now, we lost our homes. See, before they could call you crazy, they have to make a nation feel crazy. It will never happen under my divine birth of what? The water spoke about birth.
Amos, I need you to bring it on. Amos, bring it on.
I'm coming home right now. See, Alan always spoke about the right of birth and the right of blood. The facts of the matter, when it comes to citizenship, it is clear. You can make a rule, and when you speak about Article 6, let's start with Article 3, of Chapter 2. And then we could talk about how, if and when we will erase Article 7. Thank you, Michelle. This is a #1 show on the planet now.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thank you, Amos.
Wow. Okay.
Not to get distracted with Amos, but let me tell you something.
But go ahead.
So, he's speaking concerning the ruling and just Soleil and just Sanguias, right of the blood, right of the soil, and we can talk about that on another day. But one of the things that Bahamians have to realize is whether you have a right to be here because of blood or because of the soil, unless you fight for the Bahamas, like the former Prime Minister said, you don't deserve it. So it's time for Bahamians to actually fight for the Bahamas. But one of the good things he also said is corruption. Corruption eats at the core of any society. Any society that's failed, it was from corruption. This is why one of the things you have is digitization. Digitization stops corruption because it allows you to see the past and the present and prevent in the future. And so this is why when you have prime ministers, you have the prime ministers and others, especially made an announcement in the House of Assembly, that revolutionary act is that we now could take credit cards online, something the world has been doing for 30 years. He says that we can now have a landing page, like for instance, in an application page on our website, and we will have that in a couple of weeks. And that's, he says, a revolution, that's innovation and whatever else. You could go to almost any page in Google page and do a landing page in a matter of minutes or an hour. And so and the reason why they bamboozle us with the so-called use of technology is they want you to believe they're advancing like the rest of the world, but they're trying to hold it back. Like for instance, if we had freedom of information, and technically we will never have freedom of information in the Bahamas until we digitize, because if they was to give you a freedom of information law, what you going to do? Have somebody spend the rest of their life looking through thousands of boxes to find the information that you want? Because we have not digitized the Bahamas. I mean, somebody has begun the digitalization process. Is a gentleman from Benchmark Publishing that I've seen for almost 2 decades that began digitization, and the government has refused to. They have engaged him for at least 15 years, and they have not paid him because digitization will allow corruption to be seen. And I've seen instances, I'm not going to mention this on this, but digitization solved already some cases in the Bahamas, some major crimes in the Bahamas that the United States was seeking resolution from by going to the digital records. But if you begin to look at that, you'll begin to see corruption in our governance. You'll see corruption in our court system. You'll see corruption in our attorney general office. You'll see corruption in our banking and other areas. Digitization will fix the land deal. Digitization will fix almost every issue we face in the Bahamas. You say we have an immigration problem, digitization will fix it in 6 weeks. You say we have an energy problem, digitization will fix that in 6 months. And this is where we have to stop them from bamboozling us and giving us spoonfuls of truth and bucketfuls of lies combined. And so what they do is they, it's used the expression, they give you a bucket full of urine and then they sweeten it with some sugar. And so what we have to do is begin to demand more and expect more. And so we have to demand leadership that understands the competence of the future. And this going back to the sovereign wealth fund. In the Bahamas, the assets in the Bahamas is worth billions, if not trillions of dollars, and is replenished on a yearly basis. The crystal caves in the Bahamas, the National Geographic says it has no value. They counted gazillion and whatever else, and they run out of value. That's the value of the crystal caves in the Bahamas. The blue holes in the Bahamas they say, is the history of our existence on Earth. The first creature to ever be, they say, that came to Earth, if you believe in evolution, the only place it's alive today is in the Exuma Keys, stromatolites. And so we produce the aragonite that, I mean, there's so much things that I could go to 100 of them. But here's the problem. You're not benefiting from them. So until you actually, what's the first step we should all do? We should all go to our MPs and demand a sovereign wealth fund where 100% of all assets, known and unknown, tangible and intangible, seen and unseen, be surrendered to a sovereign wealth fund so that we could begin to hire sovereign asset management companies to run them for our benefits. Good example, the government of the Bahamas is giving all of the forts and the water tower to the chairman of the FNM and to one of his campaign coordinators. You're telling me that we don't have the financial resources to hire a management company who competence. And here's what they tell you. Government can't run anything. If government can't run anything, how do you run the country? If you could sell BTC and it can be run properly, if you could sell BPL and it can be run properly, and the water company can be run properly, and Bahamas can be run properly, then it's never the company. It's the competence of the people that you have put there. So how about separating yourself from being able to put incompetent people in these companies, in these government corporations, and let's hire the competence rather than selling them so we can generate the profit. So what they do is they give something you already built. You already spent $1 billion building the infrastructure for BPL. The forts was built hundreds of years ago. So what they do is they're giving your assets to somebody who then leverages your asset and keep most of the profits. when all you had to do was hire a management company to do the same thing with you, who would take a management salary rather than, because remember now, the people you're giving the forts to, the people you're giving these corporations to, it's not running it. They're hiring the managers. So why can't we hire the managers and keep 100% of the profit?
I got your point. Listen, we got to take a break. Boy, this is so disappointing that we're still having this conversation today.
But this is the conversation we should hold in Parliament.
Huh? Say that again?
This is what we should have heard. This is what we should have heard yesterday.
Exactly. Instead of, anyway, let's take this break. You can play the music again. We're going to take a break, y'all, and we'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want. Ocean blue got it. Ocean blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean blue is the best in seafood, yeah. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. Ocean blue seafood, we are here for you. Ocean blue seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and onboard lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And by BMP Liquidators. High quality furniture and home goods at very reasonable prices.
All right, welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. My guest today is C. Alan Johnson. We are talking walking in the spirit, breaking down
Michelle,
the communication by the Prime Minister. Go ahead.
Yes, let me do a shameless plug because somebody asked, what could we do? That's what we could do. Support GPS, and this is how you can do that. Call the advertisers on the show and on Glory. Let them know that you heard about it on GPS. Then I'm sure by next week, Michelle is going to have some Patreon accounts and some digital wallets, and you guys can make donations of $5 or whatever. Because here's what happens.
You can help us set that up.
Yes, we can. Proper information, when properly comprehended, is knowledge. Knowledge, when properly executed, is wisdom. So let's work to make the show last and put individuals like me on the show that we could get you the right information. And now we just talked to you about what to do. Let's begin to talk also about how do we do it. And so we could just look for that to be coming for Patreon and some digital wallets where you can send $5, $1, $2, wherever you have it. Because it costs to put the show and keep the show on the air. And so if we look for supporters, if you know someone else, just tell them, hey, we are going to be tuning in to GPS, or I suggest you advertise so other people can know about you. Tell the advertisers thank you and whatever else. And let's begin to have a conversation on what's now and what's next. And that's the best thing to do. So it isn't where you wait on me or someone else. You get armed with the information to begin the transformation that yourself, the paradigm shift.
Lord knows we need to have these kinds of conversations because somebody has to keep them honest. People often say to me, even in my conversation with my father yesterday, because a lot of in the Turks and Caicos Islands, my grandmother, 4 of her grandchildren are serving in Parliament right now in the Turks and Caicos House of Assembly. My dad is from the Turks and Caicos Islands. And so my dad says to me during the conversation yesterday, so have you ever thought about going into politics? I say, you too, Daddy? What y'all dealing with? Why y'all think I got to go into politics to make a difference? He says, that's in your blood. I say, whatever. But somebody has to keep them honest. Somebody has to keep their feet to the fire. And I dare say that is the role of the media. We're supposed to be asking the tough questions. And when it comes to the point where you are being threatened as a journalist, threatened by your job or whatever else, something is seriously wrong with that picture, and we have to fix it, people. Otherwise, democracy itself is a threat. Now, I have a call on the line. Caller, I got 3 minutes, and I got to give 1 of them minutes to C. Alan Johnson for his final thoughts. So I say that to say this. Make it quick. Welcome to the show.
Sorry, Michelle, for calling back. So then I need you then to do a show where you can show the Bahamian people what you had to go through, what the reporters at ZNS would have had to go through to reach the level of bringing the evening news and basically what we're trying to your opinion, your personal opinion, a show on your personal opinion as relates to investigative journalism and how important it is. You see.
Okay, no, you can't go into you see. You can't.
Okay, yeah. No, that's it.
All right.
A whole lot.
All right. Thanks for calling. Thanks for calling back. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so because if he's stopping, you see, that's another 10 minutes. All right, so final thoughts, C. Alan Johnson.
Yes, I'm saying the behemoths, we don't need to look for the change except in the mirror. We are the change we're seeking. We must become the change that we want to see. And so if we get together, the collective intelligence, it simply says the power of the people is and shall always be greater than the people in power. That's us. And so let's come together. Let's support this show. We're going to set up the platforms for us. Share the message. If you know somebody with a business, tell them you need to advertise because you want to keep the show on air so that we can begin the transition because we are in the new dispensation. We are in the new economy and we need the new information to conquer it. Tune in every day between 11 and 1 and get the information you need to become the people and persons so we can build the country we want. Thank you so much. Until next time.
Amen. You know, I did say at the beginning of this show, not this episode, but this series, this show, when I first started on this station, came up with the slogan, "The truth has a new home." But one of the things that I didn't say that you need to know is that the truth also costs you. And the truth ain't free. It cost me my job at the old place.
Two things. Hey, it costs you money, but it also says that you must pay attention.
Exactly. So thank you, C. Allen, for that plug. If you want to support the show, if you want to keep the show on there, you got to support it. You know, bottom line, because this is not a hobby, and this station ain't airing these things just right. So this is a business that they're running, and business costs money. They got staff to pay. I mean, if you're walking here and see this beautiful studio, this costs money. You know, this studio is one of the best I've ever been in as far as radio is concerned in this country. This costs money. And so you got to support the show more than just tuning in and sharing it and everything, which is important because the advertisers want to see that it's gaining traction. Otherwise, why would they advertise? But C. Allen came up with a great plan, and I'm going to talk to him after we get off air about how we can set that up, and those of you who wish can make a contribution that way. Okay, time is gone, y'all. Y'all pray for these people here. Pray for them because they ain't walking in the spirit. They're not walking in the spirit, C. Allen Johnson. And we need people who can hear from above. We need people who can hear. We need people who can start walking in the spirit. And I know there's a lot of spirits out there. We talk about the right spirit because I'm convinced some other spirits had wake here. So we need these people to start walking in the spirit. And if they can't do it, let's find some people who can. All right? God knows we need it. Right. So thank you so much, Ciara.
Love you, Bahamas. Until next time.
Until next time, we'll be in touch soon, guys. That's my time. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Tomorrow is Wellness Wednesday, part 2 of the show that I started last week, Wednesday. Oh, my goodness. Don't you miss tomorrow. Don't you miss tomorrow. It's going to be some mind-blowing information. All right? I'm going to get out of here now. You have a good and safe afternoon. Take care, everybody.